Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our February the 23rd, 2021 fiscal court meeting. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Madison County Fiscal Court will be video conferencing the fiscal court meeting live on the Madison County, Kentucky Facebook page and on our local Spectrum TV channel 377 in compliance with the Office of the Attorney General's Opinion 20-05. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, call the roll.
Master Reynolds.
Present.
Master Barger. Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Bakken.
Present.
Judge Taylor.
Here. Kenny, just FYI, Roger was on and he's having some technical difficulties. So I would have, just so it doesn't mess up your count, he's trying to get back on right now. We've been in contact with him. Okay.
Okay.
All right. At this time, I'm going to invite our master of our first district, Paul Reynolds, to lead us in a word of prayer. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. Shall we pray? Thank you, God, for this wonderful day, and thank you, God, for being our God, and thank you, God, for giving us the opportunity to make decisions for Madison County. We pray, God, you'll give us the wisdom and the strength to do your will.
Amen.
God, you be with the sick and the hungry and the homeless only as you can. Forgive us for sins. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 At this time, I'm going to invite our sheriff to lead us in the pledge.
Please stand, face our flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated.
Thank you, Sheriff. Due to the weather that we had last week, it put us a little bit behind, so our minutes were not quite ready. So we will postpone approving our minutes from our March or our previous fiscal court meeting to our March 9th fiscal court meeting. At this time, I'm going to invite our treasurer, Glenna Smith. Almost did it again, Glenna. I'm sorry. To go over our treasurer's report. And Roger Barger's made it on with us. Good morning, Roger. Good to have you.
The treasurer's report should be in your Dropbox, and if anybody in the public would like a copy of it, you can email me at glenna.smith@madisoncountyky.us, and I can send you a copy. As of January 31st, 2021, our total fund balance of all our funds is $10,051,490.35. Our general fund, as of 1/31/21, our revenues are at 70.4%. Our expenditures are at 31.4%. Our road fund revenues are at 56%. Our expenditures are at 53.9%. Our jail fund revenues are at 54.6%, and our expenditures are at 44.8%. Our LGEA fund, our revenues are at 59%, our expenditures are at 25.4%. CSEP fund, our revenues are at 5.1%, and our expenditures are at 4.8%. Our 911 fund, our revenues are at 40.7%, and our expenditures are at 38.5%. And our health fund, our revenues are at 35.4%, and our expenditures are at 48.7%. Does anybody have any questions about the claims list or the treasurer's report?
Tom Bakken.
Hey, Glenna, would you remind me what the $203,573 in the LGEA fund was for?
What, was it a claim?
Yeah, I mean, showing a claim of $203,000.
And that's on the claims list.
Oh, he's just talking about on the front, Glenna. You know how it shows total claims is 203,573.93.
Oh,
It could have been some road equipment, or it could have been our truck payment.
yes, our dump truck payment comes out of that. So that was that. I think that's all that was paid out of that. Let me look real quick. If you go to the appropriations ledger, page 17, so far, the road equipment in principal, 109,000 has been paid out for that. The interest is 25,000, and then road equipment, we purchased some equipment for 68,000. And that equals the 203,000.
All right, good. I had one other question. On page 1 of the claims, there was a $2,027 claim for handheld radio parts. Is that CSEP?
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, that's CSEP.
And I saw on page 3 of the same thing, their claims there. There is a claim in there for public affairs initiatives. Is that also CSEP?
Yes, let me find it. It's on page 3.
Yes, the only reason I'm asking is because it had a invoice number that I wasn't familiar, that didn't follow our general ones. It was it was on page 3. It's invoice. Let's see, the PO number was 28198.
$28,198. Yes, that would have been CSEP.
Okay, it's CSEP. All right. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
John Tudor.
Glenna, on the health account, our revenue was less than the expenditures. Is that because of the time of year it is, or?
It is. There is some more revenue to be put in there that came in January, but that has not been logged in. So there is some more revenue that should be in there. Plus, our claims have been running high this year, so it's made them more than our revenues for this year. This is the first year that it's done that. We have found out some things that's going to change that our claims should get better in the next 6 months. But right now we have had about 8-month period of claims. But we're still doing fine. We had a surplus in there, so we had enough to cover the bad claims.
Do you think it's because of the weather and because of the COVID outbreak somewhat?
No, none of the claims were related to COVID.
Okay.
It just, when you do self-funded insurance, normally you'll have several good years and then you'll have a bad year. And then you'll go back and have several good years. And that's why it's really important to save up your surplus during those good years, because it's inevitable that you're going to have a bad year, that you have several people have something catastrophic happen. And we just had one of those years.
But you look for it to balance itself out, though.
Yes, sir. Yes, because we already know some of the claims have ended.
Thanks, Glenna.
More problems. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, John and Tom. Good questions. Anyone else? Any questions for Glenna? Seeing none, Glenna, I think you'll stay on, but thank you for your report.
You're welcome.
First order of business today is the second reading of ordinance 2021-01. This is general obligation bonds 2021. Glenna?
Yes, this is ordinance 2021-01, an ordinance of the County of Madison, Kentucky, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds series 2021A in the aggregate principal amount of approximately $7,500,000, which amount may be increased or decreased by up to $750,000 to finance all or a portion of the cost of the acquisition, construction, equipping, and installation of various energy-saving improvements to certain county facilities, and general obligation refunding bond series 2021B in the aggregate principal amount of $6,635,000, which amount may be increased or decreased by up to $660,000 to currently refund the outstanding County of Madison, Kentucky general obligation refunding bond series 2012. approving the filing of a notice with the state local debt officer, approving the preparation of preliminary and final official statements or other offering documents with respect to the bonds, authorizing acceptance of the bid of the bond purchaser for the purchase of the bonds, approving the form of bonds, authorizing designated officers to execute and deliver the bonds, providing for the payment and security of the bonds, creating bond payment funds, maintaining the heretofore created sinking fund, and repealing inconsistent ordinances. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this ordinance and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Glenna. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2021-01? And this is the second reading, the general obligation bond 2021. Tom?
Just like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2021-01.
Thanks, Tom. Paul Reynolds?
I second it.
I have a motion and a second. Just for the record, we did advertise this according to KRS. It being a second reading, well, we had no comments sent in. Do we have any discussion at this time? Any of the fiscal court members have any questions? Everybody understands this, I think, from our first reading. John Tudor?
Judge, the way I understand it, the second bond is the refinancing of the debt on the county, on the annex and what was left on the golf course and so forth. We're only going to do that if the rates are in our favor 6 months from now, whenever it comes due, right?
That is correct. Yes, it is. That bond is called the 2012 series bonds, which you're right, John. It was made up of the annex, the jail, and the golf course. And it actually comes due to where you could refinance it, I think, in September. You can actually do it about 90 days prior. And so we thought it would be good for the county to go ahead and include it in this ordinance so that we have that option. But yeah, we're definitely not going to do anything to it if rates aren't better or it doesn't make it financially better for the county. You know, this bond matures on 2036. And so I would like to see us reduce the time frame more so than maybe our amount that we pay. And so we'll see when we get a little closer to that time frame.
All right, thanks, Judge.
Yes, sir. Any other questions or comments regarding the second reading of ordinance 2021-01? All right, seeing none. Clerk Barger, call the roll, please.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bakken,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you all very much. Excited. Yeah, I'm very excited about this energy project. I think it's going to be really good for the county. So thanks, Glenna, too, to you. Next is first reading of ordinance 2021-02. This is a first reading of a land use regulation change for event venues. And we have our very own Bert Thomas on with us. Good morning, Bert.
Good morning, everybody. Well, Judge, I think I'll just, since this is the first reading, I'll just read the ordinance, then I'll kind of explain a little bit what got us to this point, and then obviously answer any questions that anybody might have.
Sure, thank you.
This is an ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 00-02, the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations regarding uses allowed. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Madison County, Kentucky, and whereas the Madison County Office of Planning and Development identified a need to make provisions for event venues in the land use regulations of Madison County. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission defines said event venues as being a building or structure, permanent or temporarily constructed for a specific event, utilized for commercial purposes, including but not limited to weddings, events, and social gatherings. Such events may differ from the traditionally recognized use of said structure and may or may not involve the sale or consumption of food and beverages, whether produced on the premises or not. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission held a public hearing on Tuesday, February 16, 2020, to consider said amendment to the regulations. After discussion of same, the commission found that making event venues a conditional use in certain agricultural zones desirable when developed with a proper site development plan. And whereas the commission voted to recommend to the Madison County Fiscal Court that the text of section 402.6 uses allowed of the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations be changed to make event venues a conditional use in the following sub-districts and zones: UC7 Urban Corridor Agriculture, RC7 Rural Corridor Agriculture, C7 Community Agriculture, and R7 Rural Agriculture. Now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the Fiscal Court of the County of Madison, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the findings of the Madison County Planning Commission are hereby adopted, and that the text of section 402.6 uses allowed of the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations be changed to make event venues a conditional use in the following sub-districts and zones: UC7, RC7, C7, and R7. Further, that the text of the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations shall be amended to add a definition of an event venue as a building or structure, permanent or temporarily constructed for a specific event utilized for commercial purposes, including but not limited to weddings, events, and social gatherings. Such events may differ from the traditionally recognized use of said structure and may or may not involve the sale or consumption of food and beverages, whether produced on the premises or not. The Madison County Office of Planning and Development shall make the appropriate textual changes to the Madison County Planning and Zoning Regulations to effect this change. This ordinance number 2021-02 shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption, and that the county clerk cause this ordinance to be published in accordance with the Kentucky Revised Statutes. So just a little background on this. Did I interrupt you, Judge? Sorry. Just a little background on this. Some of you are aware probably that we have several events or several venues like this in Madison County. Most often they're used for weddings. Some of you may have been to a wedding, a barn wedding, wedding out on a farm or some kind of structure. It's kind of an in thing right now. We have several of them in Madison County that are operating under a conditional use permit. The Board of Adjustments has always reviewed those and approved them under the regulations under home-based type businesses as a conditional use. The most recent one that we had resulted in a lawsuit. The board approved the permit for the applicant. One of the neighbors filed a lawsuit in circuit court to challenge that, and the court ruled in favor of the neighbor that brought the lawsuit. And Jenny, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but I believe the judge's feelings were that the regulations weren't very clear in specifically allowing for this type of use. So our land use regulations has three types of use. You have a permitted use, meaning something can be done in that zone. You have a conditional use, which means something can be done provided they get a conditional use permit. And then you have a non-permitted use. Our regulations didn't specifically spell out either of those first two for an event venue or a wedding barn. So she deferred to the third option, saying that wasn't permitted for that zone, for an agriculture zone. And further, our definition of what a home-based business was not clear enough to allow that either. So the purpose of this, while we're here today, is to try to clean that up a little bit. Obviously, the Planning Commission and the Board of Adjustments and the public have shown a desire to be able to do this kind of thing. We want to make that possible with the appropriate restrictions on it. This is not changing anything really that we're doing. It will still be a conditional use. They'll still have to apply for a permit. They'll still have to go through the Board of Adjustments. There'll still be a public hearing, and the Board of Adjustments will still have the option to put conditions based on this specific location, this specific permit application, to still control and provide some level of protection for the neighbors and the neighborhood, but still letting this kind of activity take place. That's really the gist of it, Judge. I mean, like I said, I'd be glad to answer any questions. It's just really cleaning up the regulations to continue to allow people to do this, but keeping the regulations where they need to be and the restrictions on it.
Thank you, Bert. Paul Reynolds.
Two questions. One is, this is for a business, you say? So if somebody had a wedding on their farm for their child or something, it wouldn't matter. They wouldn't have to have a permit.
No, this would be for commercial purposes. If you want to go and have your dog get married on your farm, none of this. This is strictly for somebody that's trying to run this as a business. They're trying to make money. It's a commercial operation. They may be having a wedding, a couple times a month. That's different than a private individual that would just want to like have a family member or something, just a private event.
Okay, the second question is, how does this affect those events being done already in the county? Would they have to apply, or are they grandfathered in, or what?
Well, I think that'd be a question for Jenny. I think this is important for those because there's some talk and some opinion that maybe that those that were approved under the current regulations may have to be looked at again if this is not changed. Jenny, is that kind of what you and I talked about?
Yes, technically, legally, because they applied under a prior regulation that the court case determined that it doesn't work. So the best way for them to do it is that we would review those applications and see if they still qualify. I can't imagine that they wouldn't, since the process is typically the same, but we need to make it so that it applies once the actual law is in effect for the ordinance change.
Third question, conditional, does that mean that as long as they obey the rules of the county, that they can do it?
Thank you, brother.
Exactly right. Yeah. So they'll have a public hearing. The Board of Adjustments will set specific conditions or restrictions on what they can and can't do. And that might be signage or the numbers of people that are allowed or hours of operation. They can vary depending on the actual venue. But yeah, they have to comply with those conditions to continue to be able to operate.
But do you have those conditions now? Or you have to develop those?
Those conditions are set by the Board of Adjustments. They're not across the board for each application. They're set individual for each application. So they're different for each one.
It's a board decision.
It's a board decision, right?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Good questions. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I need a motion and a second to approve the first reading of ordinance 2021-02, land use regulations change for event venues. Roger. Yeah, there you go.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? John Tudor?
Second that motion, Judge.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion at this time? All right, seeing none, Clerk Barger, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bakken,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes, thank you, Bert. Appreciate it. For any citizen that would like to make public comment on this ordinance, please feel free to email the comment to comments@madisoncountyky.us. Again, that would be anybody that wants to make comments, send that to comments@madisoncountyky.us. A copy of this ordinance will be available on our website at www.madisoncountyky.us under the Transparency tab. We will be advertising this according with KRS requirements. Next is Resolution 2021-24, bid award for service truck bed. We have Scott Shepherd on. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Resolution 2021-24, a resolution approving the bid award to TEPCO of Kentucky Incorporated for a road department service truck bid. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve of all bids in accordance with administrative code, and whereas the bids were for the purchase and installation of a service truck bed, and whereas the bids were properly posted and have been opened and reviewed, and whereas the Madison County Road Department received one bid, which has been reviewed and has come to an agreement to award the bid to TEPCO of Kentucky Incorporated in the amount of $97,398. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve the resolution and authorize the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Scott. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2021-24? John Tudor?
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-24 the purchase of a truck bed for the county.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Paul Reynolds?
I second it.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Tom Bakken?
So I guess the first question I have two. The first one is, are we budgeted forward? And the second one is this a replacement?
Tom, this is actually budgeted through the LGA fund money, and this is a replacement. It will be replacing a bed that was purchased new by the county in 1994, which makes it 27 years old and is at the end of life of its service.
That's the one that you see down in the shop all the time.
That's correct.
Good. Thank you.
See who else? John Tudor.
So we have a truck to put this on, Scott.
Yes, we have already acquired a truck to put this on.
Okay, what all does this bed have on it besides a boom and lift and equipment such as that?
This is actually a 14-foot bed with all tool compartments. It has a welder on it, a compressor, a 12-ton crane, generator, and is equipped with everything that we need to do field service with.
Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Roger?
I'm just following up with John there. That was about the questions I had, but with the equipment that you're getting with that bed, it sounds a little better. I just thought if it was a raw bed that you put all your equipment in, that was kind of high, but not with all that equipment. That's good.
Yeah, I actually searched all over the country for a bed like this and got prices anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. And we've actually put this out for bid twice. And this was actually the first confirmed bid that we'd received.
Okay. Thank you.
John Tudor.
Scott, is there any value of our old bed? We might get a little bit out of it to another municipality or something.
Yes, sir. The truck that we have now, the truck and bed will be sold on gov deals, and we're roughly expecting it to bring anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000.
That'll help a little bit. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, this I have to say this a piece of equipment. This truck is very, very, very important, especially last week. And this truck is very old. It's rusting. I mean, there's been times, Scott, that we wondered whether it was going to make it. But pulling trucks out in an emergency event, in an ice storm, in the snow, it is a very important tool to keep our trucks on the roads, to be able to fix cuts back on tow bills and that kind of thing. So,
yes, Judge, this truck is used multiple times a day. This truck services all of our equipment year round, whether we're mowing, pushing snow, services backhoes, any kind of lines that bust. This is a must-have piece of equipment, and we're getting to the point where ours is just not dependable anymore.
any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, I do have a motion and a second on resolution 2021-24. No more discussion. Call the roll. Clerk Barger.
Master Bakken,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Next on our agenda is a winter storm tree debris pickup plan. I think, Scott, you're going to present to us today on this.
Yes, sir. What we've put together is a plan to help all the constituents out. We've had many phone calls about, okay, we've had the ice storm, we're getting over it, but we have a lot of tree debris. So we put a plan together that we are going to start accepting calls this Thursday, and we're going to have a schedule running through the end of April that constituents can call in, schedule an appointment once their debris are at the curbside. We'll actually run the route 3 times, and we ask that they just go to our website page at madisoncountyky.us to schedule their appointment, or they can call our Division of Solid Waste at 859-624-4709. We will start taking appointments, like I said, this Thursday. We will take them through the 13th of March, and then we will begin the first pickup on March the 15th. While they are picking those up, we'll have another 2-week period that the phones and applications will be open, and then we will pick up again around the 1st of April for 2 weeks. We will then have another 2-week period that people can register, and we'll do our final and third pickup from April 15th to April the 29th. And we just ask that any debris put out be tree related. We cannot accept any foreign matter other than trees, debris, limbs, stumps, anything that the storm generated. And for complete details, please go to the website or feel free to call us here at the Solid Waste Department.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate the update. I'm glad that we are able to provide this service. The last week and a half, I guess, has been pretty treacherous on Madison County, on our road department, on our citizens. Kudos to you all for the work that you all have done in keeping our county roads clear and safe. That ice is no joke, is it?
It's no joke, and it's hard to deal with.
It very much so is. You know, it's hard on our plows or trying to get under it. It's just tough. But y'all did an outstanding job, and really greatly appreciate y'all's efforts.
Thank you, sir.
It's untelling how much it cost the county. This event did, having three storms right in a row. So, but I'm glad that we can partner too with our emergency management team and the road department in providing this service and tree cleanup. Dustin, do you want to add anything? Appreciate you being on.
Oh, you bet. No, sir. I think Scott covered it. Thank you. I'm here for any questions.
Sure. Tom Bakken.
Judge, can we just get those dates one more time? Are those posted on the county website?
We will be posting them on our county website, Tom, and also we'll be putting that out on Facebook too. But Scott, if you don't mind, would you go ahead and read those dates?
Yes, sir. The first scheduling.
And remember, there's 3 rounds of this.
Correct. The first round scheduling date is February the 25th through March the 12th. The pickup window for that scheduling date is March 15th through April the 1st. And your road debris must be, or your debris must be at curbside by March the 15th. Round 2 signups will be March 13th through March 31st. The pickup window will be April 5th through April the 15th. And your curbside debris must be out by April 5th. For round 3, the scheduling date will be April 1st through April the 15th. The pickup window will be April 19th through April 29th. And the debris must be curbside by April 19th. And all this will be able to be viewed on the website.
And one thing I wanted to clarify, just to make sure everybody understands, is, and I don't know these exact dates, Scott, but I'll try to do my best with what you just said. But if you're in the first round, your debris need to be at the curb on March 15th. Now, it might be that our road department crew doesn't get there because of how they've scheduled to travel around to clean all that up. They might not get there till March 21st. So just be patient. Realize that we are coming. If you're scheduled and your limbs and stuff are set out next to the curb on March 15th, they might sit there for 6 days or so before we can actually get there and pick them up. But at this time, we don't know where our route actually will start. And so that's why we're asking everybody to put their limbs out on that first day in case you are the first stop. Is that correct, Scott?
That is very correct. That is true. We are going to try with the dates that we have scheduled and the pickup windows. We will try to get to everyone that schedules during that pickup window. But we may run behind. We don't know how much we're going to get. So we will be there. As long as you're on the schedule, you will get picked up.
Roger.
Just want to make sure on the the website and the phone number at madisoncounty.us. Is that all it is?
No, it's Madison.
Go ahead, Scott.
It's madisoncountyky.us. That's our regular county webpage.
Okay.
And the number to call is the Solid Waste Division's number, 859-624-4709.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So you can utilize either way to schedule a pickup, whether you call the solid waste directly or you do it online. And I would just encourage all of our citizens to please be patient. This is for the unincorporated limits of the county. So if you live outside the city limits of Berea and Richmond, you will be put on the list. And it doesn't matter if you live on a state road or a county road. As long as you live in the unincorporated limits of the county, you will get your limbs picked up. Dustin and Scott, I really appreciate y'all's due diligence on this. I know this all had to be put together pretty quick so we can get moving on it, so we can start getting limbs picked up. So I think we decided to do this last Thursday and Friday, and so I really appreciate y'all putting a plan together in short notice. So kudos,
Glad to
good
help.
job.
Yes, sir. Glad to help.
All right, any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none. Next on the agenda is an executive session. I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter. This executive session is allowable under KRS 61.810, exceptions to open meetings, section 1. All meetings of a quorum of the members of any public agency at which any public business is discussed or at which any action is taken by the agency shall be public meetings, open to public at all times except for the following. Subsection F, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee, member, or student without restricting that employee's, members, or students' rights to a public hearing if requested. This exception shall not be interpreted to permit discussion of general personnel matters in secret. I would like to ask the IT team to mute all Zoom lines and ask the magistrates to call in on the provided conference call line. At this time, I need a motion and a second to go into executive session on personnel matters. John Tudor?
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session.
Thank you, John. Roger?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bodkin,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
He's cool thing girls. He's great. You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye.
All right, thanks everyone for your patience. Kenny Barger, John Tudor made a motion to come out of it. All right, thanks for everyone's patience. All right, we're going to try it again, see if we can get rid of that echo. Is that better? All right. Thanks for everyone's patience. I'll try this for the third time. Clerk Barger, John Tudor made a motion to come out of executive session, and Roger Barger made a second. If you will, at this time, call the roll to come out of executive session, please.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bodkin,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Do I have a motion and a second dealing with the personnel matter? Tom Bodkin.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to suspend Brandon Chipwood for his next 3 shifts without pay effective February the 26th, 2021.
All right, do I have a second? John Tudor.
Second, Judge.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bodkin,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you all. Next on the agenda is the judge's report. I do have a few announcements. First and foremost, I want to thank all of our county employees for everything that was done during our not 1, not 2, but 3 serious winter storms since our last Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. A special shout out goes to our emergency management staff and our fire department, sheriff's department, and road department, and our custodial crew for keeping everything running as smoothly as possible. I want to also add our elected officials to that, our county attorney, our county clerk, our judge, circuit court judge, family court judges, our sheriff, our PVA. I don't think I'm leaving anybody out, but we all worked really hard together to do the right thing and open and close and work together to try to make sure that we were keeping our customers and our citizens safe. So thanks to everyone there that worked with me on helping make decisions of whether we close buildings or not. So, and a special shout out goes to Kenny Barger for all his work around the courthouse. Should have taken some pictures, but we did have him out there with a snow shovel and salt spreader and spreading salt. So,
And a snow blower. The snow
and
blower.
a snow blower. That's right.
Snow blower.
That's
Awesome.
exactly right. Yeah. He had his little Mr. Rogers hat on and everything, man. He looked good. Looked good. Again, please, if you have any questions or concerns about the tree limb pickup, please just reach out to the website or give us a call. We really want this to go as smooth as possible, and we really want people to have patience with this as we try to do all this cleanup. Also, I want to encourage for next snow events for constituents to please just reach out and make a phone call to our county of concerns that you might have. Let's be respectful of our county road department employees as they're out there day in, day out at night, trying to keep our paths clean. I know in these times it can be frustrating, but please understand the other side of the coin. We had several messages that were really not nice. To say the least. And it's disappointing when you're working so hard trying to keep our roads clean and that people don't have the respect just to have a respectful conversation and they leave a nasty message on a voicemail. Don't even leave their name or where their address is. We're not perfect in the road department. We're not perfect as county employees, as elected officials. We make mistakes too. We might miss something. And so to first come out with your guns ablazing instead of having a respectful conversation is really uncalled for in those times. And so I would just encourage our citizens to have a respectful conversation with us as community leaders, as county employees, so that we can make sure that we're doing what our citizens deserve and what they should get. Our parks are also suffering during this recent winter event. Some areas of the walking trails may not be available due to fallen tree limbs. Please be careful in those areas and observe any areas that may be off limits until those areas are deemed safe to use. I was so happy. I drove out Sunday to our Whitehall Park, and of course it was snow filled, trails were covered, but we still had people out there walking their dogs. still coming out using our facility. And so I'm grateful that we have a place like that, that even in those times, that our citizens can come out and get some fresh air. Madison County has begun the process of updating its comprehensive plan, and we do need your help. Please visit Madison County's website and fill out a special survey giving your opinions on the direction our county needs to take for everyone's benefit. The survey takes about 5 minutes and may be found at the Madison County ky.us website. Please continue to practice safe measures in regarding to the COVID-19 pandemic. The winter weather has caused delays in the vaccination schedule, but it will get back on track soon. Please continue to wear your face coverings when out, practice social distancing, and wash your hands often. The infection rate is decreasing, and with everyone's help, it will continue to do so. Spring is on its way, and with it comes severe weather. Now's the time to review plans you may have in dealing with severe storms and possible tornadoes. So please remind your family members and your kids coming up with a storm season to just be prepared. And another sure sign of spring is daylight savings time, which will begin this year on Sunday, March 14th at 2 a.m. Remember to turn your clocks forward 1 hour before you go to bed on Saturday, March the 13th. Thank you all for your time. And at this time, we'll move on to my, comments from our magistrates, and we'll start with John Tudor today. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Judge. Thank you. As you said, we've had a rough week with all the ice and the freezing rain and the snow and just back to back. And I want to thank all the constituents for being understanding for the most part in these situations. We had a good slow melt yesterday and today. If we'd had too much rain on top of the snow, we could have had some flooding issues, but I'm glad we're melting off slow, and it's been good on the runoff for the melt. Several of the constituents in my district were out of power for up to a week or so. I think everybody's back on now. I know that was a difficult time to handle without any kind of heat or power, even without water for a week, but we got through it, and we're better off for it. We learned next time to maybe be a little more prepared in some situations. I had a couple of calls with the snow plows accidentally knocking over a couple of mailboxes, and with that big wide snow plow and on these icy roads, that kind of thing happens. All of us run off the road a little bit sometimes, even though we aren't pushing snow. But I've worked with the constituents and got those back up. I want to thank you for everybody that worked with that. I think everybody seems to be pleased with that situation. So just continue to be safe out there, and thank you to everyone. That's all I got, Judge.
Thanks, John. Hey, and John, on those mailboxes, a lot of times it's the actual snow that knocks them off more so than it is the truck or somebody hitting it. I was behind.
It is.
I was behind one of the state trucks the other day and following it out Red House Road, and just the pressure of that snow pushing off that blade, it took a mailbox right off of its post. So a lot of times I think constituents think the actual truck itself hit the mailbox, but it's not necessarily the case. So
thanks, Judge.
Yep. Thank you, buddy. Next, we'll go to Roger Barger.
Can you hear me? Okay. Pretty much all I had was about the debris, what they're going to do with it, but I just thought of something else. What if somebody's already picked up their limbs and put them in a trailer or got them loaded in a truck? Do they still need to call the same number to tell them where they can take it to or whatever?
Roger, we're not going to have any kind of drop-off spot.
Okay.
But if they do have them on a trailer, I can't imagine they couldn't just put it by the curb when the appropriate time comes necessary. Scott and Dustin, do y'all want to comment on that?
Judge, due to the regulations of the state, and we have to have a regulated site in order to dispose of this stuff, we will not have a drop-off location. But as you said, if they've already collected it on their property and it's in a trailer, then they can just unload it at their curbside, and we will be glad to pick it up there.
Okay, that's all I need to know. I didn't have anything else, Judge.
Thanks, Raj. Paul Reynolds.
Well, I have to say that I was amazed at being a new member of the board. I was amazed at the work of the road department and everybody in the county government, how they worked together and did such a good job in those 3 storms. And I just want to congratulate everybody on a good job.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Tom Bakken.
Hey, Judge, I just want to kind of echo what everybody's said so far. For the 3 snow events that they had like that, and not to mention all that was just escalated by 1.5 inches of ice underneath all of it. You know, I went from one side of the 4th District to the other side of it, and I'm telling you, the next day, and no more than 2 days, you could eat off the roads. I mean, and that's just phenomenal that the road department can get out there and make those roads and turn them into something that's that bad and make them that safe in just that short of a time. I mean, I can't thank those guys enough. The first responders, everybody that was associated with that, you know, people wrecking and the fire department and the EMA and just all those guys, everybody needs a good pat on the back here that work for the county. Although they're not a county function, I do want to pat them on the back because there was a lot of people in Madison County that lost their power. And Bluegrass Electric and KU both, they just bent over backwards to get those lines cleared off and get the limbs up and get the power restored to people just as fast as they could. And some folks, you know, have to have that. Folks that are handicapped and have other special needs, they depend on that electricity, and they really been over backwards. So I just want to commend those folks as well. And also, Judge, just the last thing for me is I just want to I want to thank you, I guess, is where it starts at, because the limb pickup, that debris pickup, we don't have to do that. But that is a really, really, really good service that we can do for our residents in the county. And I certainly appreciate you taking the initiative to get that started. And so thank you very much for that. And if anybody needs me, they can reach me at 200-9765.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for that too. And the other thing I do want to make a quick mention of is there was a rumor that the county ran out of salt, and we never ran out of salt. So just a FYI for everybody, court members, we never did. We got close, and we had already actually ordered to fill our bins back up. And we actually they were not delivering us salt because they knew we had salt. And there was other governmental entities that were out. And so they were delivering it to those entities before they were bringing it to us because we were not out. So if that rumor is out there, you all can please feel free to squash that we never did run out of salt. So electeds, Kenny, Jenny, do y'all have anything to add today? No? You good? All right. Department heads.
Hey,
Chief?
Hey, Judge, I just want to make a mention where they're going to be picking that debris up. Some people may not want to get it picked up. They may want to burn it. So if they do, all I'd ask is they call our control burn number, 859-624-4776, or they can call the fire department at 624-4774, and we'll come out and look and try to help them do it safely as they can. That's all I want to add to it, because some people's probably going to try to burn some of that instead of waiting. So I just want to make that aware.
Yeah, that's a good point, Chief. I appreciate your leadership in bringing that up. We don't want you all to be running out to an emergency when it's nothing more than just a brush fire, you know, because that does happen a lot. And you've been around for a long time. Somebody will see something burning, and the first thing that person's driving by, they do is call 911, say there's a fire.
Yep.
So it's really helpful when people call in a controlled burn, because we know the address, and we know when that call comes in at 911 that they do not have to activate our fire department out to it. So, Roger. Roger, hit your mute button.
How about now?
I got you.
Okay. I said, could the chief give that number out for the controlled burn in case some of them don't have it?
Yeah, it's 859-624-4776.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Tudor, did you have a question?
I had a comment for Tim there, if he's still on.
Yeah, he is.
Tim, I think your department was involved yesterday on the livestock rescue out of the pond. Were you all involved in that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had units out there along with Richmond.
Well, I just want to say I appreciate that service, and that's something you all do for constituents and farmers. Anytime someone or something's in danger, you all show up, and I appreciate your service, Tim. Thank you so much.
I'll let all the guys know. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that that Chief, you thanked Richmond, Chief Kirby and them. I love our relationship when we're both there to help each other out. So it's good that we have those agreements and mutual aids. So, Scott, were you going to say anything?
I would just like to personally give a shout out to the fire department. As we were pushing all the snow and dealing with the ice, we had multiple calls of trees down, and they took it upon themselves to go out and relieve us and cut and move all those trees to open the roadways back up. And I just like to give a special mention to them and a thanks.
Thank you, Scott. And appreciate you all, Chief. Appreciate you a lot. Man, it makes my heart smile knowing that how well all of our departments work together. I sometimes, I guess, take advantage of it, or because I'm in the midst of it, I see it. And we've broken down those siloed walls, and man, we work with each other. And I think this really just shows how far we've come, and jumping in, don't even have to ask. Man, it's a true team, and I'm really appreciative of everybody working together. So, any other department heads? All right. We have not had any comments from the audience today. Next on the agenda is to pay the claims and approve the transfers. I need a motion and a second to do so. Roger?
So moved.
John Tudor?
Second, Judge.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, Clerk Barger, call the roll.
Master Buchan,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
that's Taylor.
Yes. Our next fiscal court meeting is March 9th, 2021. It'll be right back here on Zoom. Again, that is March 9th, 2021. That will be at 9:30 as usual. I need a motion and a second to adjourn. Roger?
So moved.
Paul Reynolds?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Buchan,
Yes.
that's Taylor.
Yes. Good to see everyone. Appreciate everything everybody does. God bless. Everybody have a good week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.